Friday the 28th of April, and good grief, almost the end of April already. Where's the year disappearing to? We're just getting to that time of year where there's so much going on. I haven't actually got time to keep up with it on my vlog. So yesterday I talked to you all about broody chickens. But what I actually did yesterday was plant up masses of seeds which have now gone into the greenhouse. And today I've been out supervising chickens because we did a big change around last night. So Mr. J and I had been talking about the state of the mixed flock field, because the field where the mixed flock usually live has become very dry and very worn. And as you can see, there are patches of grass that's reasonable, but there's an awful lot of just very dry, not very good quality pickings, I think is the best phrase for this. The chickens seem to be eating an awful lot of pellets, like they're not finding enough food. I think it's a good time to give this a bit of a rest and get Mr. J out here to mow it and to promote new growth of the grasses. And as I said, hopefully it will rain, which will improve the soil and improve the life of it. So we decided that we would change their access to the field, and they can no longer get into the field that they've been in, and we've given them a whole new fresh pasture. Look at that. We want to come out. Now the daft thing is that this is the covered walkway we made because we wanted them to be able to go outside a little bit during the lockdown. So we've made this covered walkway, and that fits onto the stable, which is also what we call the chicken condo. And I'm just going to walk around the side of this. So in here is their nesting boxes, and then this is the area at the side of the piggeries. And I've now put a pop hole, a permanent pop hole for them, so they can just come and go as they please. So they don't need to, and he did, so they don't need to be in the walkway crying that they can't get outside, because actually they can. And out here it's much more fun for them. Look at these huge great trees and loads of stuff. So it didn't take us too long to work out that if they were eating loads of pellets and the ground was looking fairly bare, then they probably didn't have enough to forage on. So that was a lesson learnt, and that's been a really good lesson to learn, and it's one for us to try and remember for next year, or even for later this year if it happens again. So the chickens will be in their new space by the piggeries for probably for a couple of months, or maybe less, but having the two spaces for them gives us the flexibility to move them around. Now the Jersey Giants don't need that because there's less of them, and they've got at the moment a much bigger area, but I am thinking of dividing that field up. And the nice thing is, because we haven't put permanent fencing in anywhere, we can move it around as we need to, and that just gives us the flexibility to shop and change things. And at some point this year I've got to make some decisions about exactly where I want some permanent pens to be, because we need to get them built before lockdown happens again in the winter, should it happen. So this morning I've been sorting out the chickens, and I've also tackled the next section of a raised bed that needed the weeds clearing from it. And it's a funny old day out here. For all intent and purposes, it's quite cold and it's quite blowy, as you can see, but as soon as you do anything it's really warm and it's quite muggy. So and we still didn't get the rain that we were promised yesterday, so I'm kind of hoping that the rain does come. It will make sorting out these raised beds so much easier if they're not bone dry and like concrete. But I have cracked on with it this morning. And as you can see over my shoulder here, I haven't just been pulling out weeds, I've lifted some leeks to go with our lunch. Now Mr. J doesn't get home from work until about 2:30, 3 o'clock on the days that he's working. So we have lunch. It's a bit of a funny time of day. We have lunch at sort of around 3 o'clock. And then we eat supper at 7. So I put a big piece of pork into the oven earlier on today, and we're going to have leeks with it, and it should be lovely. Now I think I need to quantify what I just said actually, or qualify it, or one of those. I've just said we have supper at 7, and it makes me sound really organised, and I'm so not organised. We had supper last night at 6 o'clock, and some nights we don't eat until 8:30. So it's not it's not a rigid 7 p.m. thing. And you know, when I was a child, my mother served supper at 6, and I don't know how she did it. I don't know whether she just waited, she cooked it earlier and then waited to 6 to serve it up, or what, but it was always 6 o'clock, and it was always, you know, you'd hear the pips going as we were washing our hands and laying the table, and there it was, food was on the table and we were eating. Now I have never been organised enough to do that. I found it very difficult to make sure that I got my children to school on time, let alone put a meal on the table on time. So bless him, Mr. J has got used to my slightly chaotic way of cooking. Actually no, my way of cooking is fine. It's my timing that's not so brilliant. I can get a meal onto the table fine and dandy, but it might not be exactly at the time I said it would be. But I wandered off on a tangent on my thoughts yet again. What I was going to show you was the raised bed that I've been cracking on with the weeding. So first of all, I think it's worth showing you what an unweeded bed looks like, and they really are pretty weedy. And now over here I've really cracked on with it. Look at this. I'm getting there. Now, if you remember, I don't actually dig to get things out. So what I'm doing is I'm just lifting. If I need to lift the deep roots out, I'm just lifting the soil a tiny bit, and I'm trying to leave it in place rather than turning it over, because I'm trying to keep the topsoil on the top and not bring up any subsoil, and the amount of topsoil we've got here is absolutely minimal, so the less disturbance the better. And then I can cover this with homemade compost and composted wood chippings, and any other organic matter I can find to build up the soil and build up the layers. So I think I'm doing really well here actually, and I might just get that finished today. And although it looks like it's not very much to get finished, I'm beginning to get quite tired, and I'd rather pace myself and have to do this tomorrow than find I'm actually on the sofa all day tomorrow, because that would be just dull as old dishwater. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the little thumbs up button, leave a comment below, share it on social media, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to be sure not to miss any of my future videos.